All right, everybody. Thank you for coming back and checking out our YouTube channel. Just so you know, I'm Brian with Technology United for Ukraine. If you're interested in joining us, if you have any technical skills that you think can help Ukraine, or even just want to volunteer and help out, you go to the link in the description and check out our website. Now we have James, who is with...
I am with the Azov International Battalion. So that's specifically Azov Corps, 12th Brigade, 3rd International Battalion, the 3rd Battalion of the 12th Brigade of Azov Corps. And I am head of the FPV fiber optic laboratory for my battalion. So I'm out here in Ukraine in pretty close to the front lines. Obviously can't tell you where, but I'm here because first of all, I want to get the word out about the International Battalion, but also speak about some of the technology that we are using, the stuff that's coming up in the future that I think will be interesting for some people. That's going to change this war, I believe. And also because my unit, we actually need help to buy the equipment that I'm going to show you, or the kinds of equipment that I'm going to show you, so that we can more effectively defeat the Russians, basically. So without further ado, let me share my screen, and we can talk about. First of all, this is my this is the fundraiser I've set up for my battalion here. And so if you go to whyukraine.com, that's actually my website, but the link here goes directly to support the Azov International Battalion. So you can click here, and it takes you directly to a payment page, and all of that goes straight to our battalion, and to help with our drone lab, and also to help with our guys on the front lines. And I can't tell you where they are, but look on the map, and basically wherever it's the fighting is thickest and most fierce, that's most likely where we're going to be. So thank you for that support, and let's get into talking about the technology, because this is Technology United for Ukraine. Yeah. So if you don't know what Brave One is, it's a grant program that has evolved more into a collaboration investment. It's a little bit like a Silicon Valley of drones, or Silicon Valley for Ukraine. And so Brave One started out as a grant program, and the grants are very small. I mean, at least the last time I checked, which was a year ago maybe, the grants for developers here, and you can see many of them, is like $25,000 or $30,000. I mean, how is that enough to start anything? But that gives you an idea of what kind of budgets Ukraine is dealing with, and how you couldn't start any of these projects for $30,000 in America. A defense tech project, that's crazy, and so you can see some of them here. We're gonna take a look at one in particular that I think is interesting, that speaks to kind of what we're doing. And of course, it's not on this page. Okay, it's all right. I linked to the tab here. So this one is pretty interesting. This is the Vyrii M7. Now, it's interesting that they call it Vyrii, because Vyrii is the name of one of the largest drone manufacturers in Ukraine. But in fact, really what they are is, they make their own drones, but they also have a lot of sub-manufacturers. So smaller manufacturers who through contracts and things, kind of join up with them and make drones for them. But the nice thing in my experience about Vyrii is they have pretty strict and careful quality control. So drones that we get from them. In fact, I'm pretty sure I actually have these drones in my lab. I'm pretty much sure I have a bunch of them. The failure rate is much lower, and I can tell you in my previous battalion, we were putting out 100, sometimes 150 drones a day. So that means that we have a laboratory. Every single drone in the laboratory that comes in from the manufacturer has to be modified in some way, tested, modified specifically to fit the mission. Okay. And tested. And sometimes other things done. So that might be change of frequencies. It might be different kinds of munitions and different like some sort of a 3D printed mount for that munition. I mean, all kinds of different things. We might decide we need to put different. We call these whiskers here. So when the drone runs into, let's say, a tank or something, this contact causes causes electrical contact, sends a message to the initiator that sends a message to the detonator to blow up the munition. So these things are constantly changing, constantly being adapted, and we would sometimes have an entire shipment, maybe 200 drones, 300 drones that were all bad for some reason, and nobody knew why. And that's 3 days of 1 day, 2 day, 3 days of not being able to do missions. That's 3 days of the Russians streaming into our positions and taking land, or
Hey,
other
James,
units having to cover. Yes.
wasn't that also one of the biggest suppliers at one point? You guys were getting some of the most effective, at least from what I had heard, that there
From
was
Vyrii? This company?
there was
Yeah.
somebody supplying, and they were just using really mismatched parts, and they just were not very good.
Oh yeah, not Vyrii, but there have been others. This is just a problem of scale and manufacturing and quality control, and the Ukrainians are having to learn this. So because scaled manufacturing is not something there have been historically that in Ukraine, but it's not something that's before the war that was very common. So this company calling their drone the Vyrii, it indicates to me that they're probably trying, if they don't already have a contract with this company, they are trying to, but they're called Sky Defenders. And so let's just take a look at it here. Yeah. So, I mean, you can't get much more simple than that. Like, wow, it's like a pipe, and you might think, oh, that's not good, but actually it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The simpler, the cheaper, the better. And let's look at the cost. Okay. $540. That's the estimated cost for these things. Now, if you wanted to invest, this is how much investment they need, this is why I love this platform, braveinventors.com. So in other words, yeah, they give grants, but then they're trying to help these companies find investment. And so if you were something, an investor outside Ukraine looking to get on the next big thing, listen, man, when this war is over, these Ukrainian companies are going to be just like beyond Silicon Valley. They're going to be a massive powerhouse. So I think that this type of thing is a really good investment for, if you're outside of Ukraine and you've got some money, it would be great. I mean, I would prefer that you send money to support Azov and my unit, because we need to buy these drones. But so that's a wonderful price. I mean, listen, you can't buy a quadcopter for that price. One of these, that's like the lowest price for a quadcopter, $500 something. Like you could barely carry anything on it. And the reason that it's so much cheaper is, well, what is the primary cost driver of one of these drones, right? The motors, okay? And so with a quadcopter, you've got 4 motors, right? So that quadruples your cost. Right here, you've just got 1 motor. So instantly you've just, reduced your cost. Now there are other things, batteries and all the other electronic components, but taking the motors away really, now obviously you have to have a larger motor. Okay, these have 4 small motors, this has 1 big motor, but still. And then also, just simplicity of construction, right? Now it's important to know that I don't know this company from Adam. I don't know anything about them. I've never talked to them, never met with them, don't know who they are. So I'm not advertising for them here. I guess I am, but I'm not being paid. But this is, we can actually, I took the liberty of translating this so we can, oh my gosh, I did take the liberty of translating this earlier and now it's gone. Give me a second. I'll do it right now. There we go. So yeah, so this is real easy to talk about, right? So when they talk about the flight preparation time, right? Imagine this is, I don't know what the size of this thing is exactly. Maybe we can go back here and it'll say. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm so American. I can't convert this size in my head. 1,000 millimeters. What is that in feet?
You keep talking. I'll calculate it right now.
Okay. Thank you. I let's say it's 1 meter. Okay. All right. Let's say it's 1 meter. That's 3 feet, a little over 3.5 feet, something like that. So it's small enough that it can be carried in a van or even a truck.
And you are correct. It is roughly a little over 3 feet. If it's 1,000
Yeah.
millimeters, it's a little over 3 feet. You got it.
Yeah. So in a van or a truck, so you can have, and this is probably, I don't think they show it here, but it's probably meant to be launched from some kind of a catapult system. It looks like they haven't included that, but catapult systems are really cheap. They're like spring loaded. There's air loaded, all these kinds of things. And so you can have, like, it might take 1 or 2 guys to set up the catapult. 1 guy to bring this out of the truck and set it on the truck, and then you might have like a driver or somebody who's, watching the sky for drones, something like that. So a 4-man team in a truck, and remember, what's the range on this, right? So the range, if we go back here, up to 33 kilometers. Okay. So that's like, I don't know, like 20 miles, right? So what's the purpose? Why do you need a 20-mile drone like this? Why can't you just use a quadcopter for that, right? And the reason is that we want to, if you have a quadcopter, your range is going to be like 4, 6 miles, 10 miles. If you're using fiber optic, there are 10, 20, 30 kilometer fiber optics, but you're never going to fly in a straight line with a fiber optic. Okay. You're going to go around it because you have to follow known existing routes so you can find where you're going. So the idea being with one of these, this is not a strategic weapon. It is a tactical weapon. What it actually is a replacement for artillery. That's really what it is. It's an artillery replacement. And what's the payload? Let's see here. I had it. Cruising speed, altitude, 2 kilometer altitude, right? Well, okay. I'm sure it's here. It's probably right in front of me. let's take a look at this. Maybe this says 3 kilometers. Huh. Let me copy this. There we go. So that would be the main question I would have, though, about this is what payload can it carry? But honestly, for the size that you get and for the price, I mean, hell, it could carry just a freaking grenade for all I care. I mean, at that point, right? Because it's so cheap, So just imagine how this could work for a second here. So we can, wingspan, ranges, and it doesn't say the payload. Interesting. Triple fuse, detachable warhead. I wonder why it doesn't say the payload. Well, in any case, just imagine how this could work. All right. One of the big problems that Ukraine has is a limited ability to advance. All right. And that has to do with lack of artillery. That has to do with lack of training. There's lots of other components involved in that. But one second. So that has to do with lack of training, but that's being fixed in the Ukrainian military in general, and especially in Azov. Okay, but if Ukraine is going to advance and move forward across the battlefield, they need these types of weapons, because let's just say you have a group of infantry assaulters. They're trying to clear trenches or houses or rubble. All right. And yeah, you have to have all the other components. You have your ISR drones, that's your reconnaissance drones looking down. You've got your FPVs, which are an important component. But then, let's say you have maybe 5-7 kilometers away, you've got a mortar team, a Russian mortar team that's pounding your location, right? You can send your 3-4 guys in a truck out with this thing, okay, and launch this drone and take out that mortar team. If you've got a 10-minute window, and you've got a team ready, before that mortar team can begin correcting fire, and before they can, because they're going to have to, most of the time, they're going to need to fire multiple shots. They'll correct that fire. They'll fire again, another shot, fire again. You can have this launched and hunting them. If you know the location of where that mortar's coming from, if you've got an ISR drone with eyes on that location, boom, you can launch this. And that's a role that in the past artillery would have played. And now we have this potential. Think about this as a smart artillery, like guided artillery, right? How much does an artillery shell cost in the American Army? Like more than $540, I can tell you. Much more. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with your viewers and make your viewers aware of this page. And maybe in the future we can make future videos and examine some of these other very interesting future weapons that are coming to the battlefield, and that can be, could be, should be game changers for Ukraine. So, and if any of you would please go to my page, it's whyukraine.com, and we can, this is what enables us to buy the drones that we need, including, possibly this one as needed on the battlefield. And so, yeah, there we go. What do you think about that, Brian?
Well, I think it's a good insight because a lot of us don't really understand the direction that weapons are taking on the Ukrainian battlefield in what the future of weapon systems are. We learned a harsh lesson in Poland where we used the $1.3 million missile to take down $10,000 drones. And, people have to understand that you can take very even off the shelf technologies, narrow them down into a focus for a specific task, like the fiber drone. The fiber drone is basically countering $250 million jamming systems. And it's very simple. When we initially brought it there, we didn't invent the fiber drone, but Technology United for Ukraine created the first inexpensive fiber drone for Ukraine. And then you see it proliferate. It was everywhere on the battlefield because it has a very specific and very robust ability to complete a mission without, obviously, even robust. It can't be jammed. And, that's the future of warfare. And this is what you're showing here.
Yep. So I wanted to, we can mention about the fiber drones because in my laboratory, my engineers are actually setting up our first fiber spoolers in our laboratory finally after months and months and months. And we're obviously we have fiber drones that we get from from the brigade, from our unit and stuff, but being able to do it ourselves at need is so important. So if any of you wanted to help us buy spools of fiber, the fiber spools can be like, usually they come in 50 kilometer, but if you'd like to buy part of that 10 kilometers worth, and that that cost includes not just the fiber but all of the equipment and the spooling and the 3D printed mounts, all of that stuff that we calculate into the cost of each mission. Actually, each mission has a cost. So if you'd like to help with that, I have this here. And the thing about this is, if you support me in this way, this goes directly to me in my laboratory. So I basically, it comes in the next day and I buy the 3D printer filament or the propellers or the fiber, or the drone as needed by our battalion. In our laboratory. So,
and I'll add something there is on our website, if you see the donate to fiber drone, it goes directly to James's nonprofit account.
It's absolutely true. I forgot about that. That's so funny. So if you go to technologyunitedforukraine.com, donate for fiber optic drones, and boom, there we are. So
because we don't accept personally, we don't take any outside monies at all. We're self-funded, but everything that you guys want to donate and you want to help, if you want to help out Technology United for Ukraine, go and donate to James at Azov, and you'll be having an impact directly on the front lines.
Yep. So and to be clear about this page, for for big purchases, hundreds of drones, okay, maybe even thousands of drones that we need, that really has to go. It has to be purchased by Azov itself. Okay, most of us, technicians, soldiers in general, we're all spending our own money to support the laboratory, to support the equipment that we need. But big purchases, we just can't do. I can do stuff along the lines of like $100 or less. But I can't handle, that's why we have Azov One, which is the organization that's in charge of, making those purchases for us. And so that's actually where this money goes. And it goes from them. They make the purchase and they send the equipment to us. So it takes a little bit longer, might take a month, sometimes two, but for volume, which is what we need, scale, it's just so important, so necessary. So yeah, thank you all. Thank you all for watching today, I guess. I think, does that end my TED Talk? Uh,
Well, you did a great job. I love it. I love the
Thanks.
information. I think that's really what's lacking out there right now is this real deep dive into the technology. And I think it'd be important for governments, NATO, US, Canada, to really get an idea of what the battlefield truly looks like. And this is the technology that's going to be fielded on the battlefield of the future. Not these, billion-dollar weapon systems, these inexpensive weapon systems that can be mass produced and have very specific tasks that can overwhelm defenses.
Yeah. And to be clear, I think the things I've talked about today are not OPSEC. Obviously, they're on the internet, they're on the web, publicly available, and also the Russians are using these same tools. But the advantage that they have is they have this command economy, and so Dark Overlord Putin can say, "You slaves, literally slaves, often, shall make 1,000 shaheds tomorrow," and they just have to do it. And Ukraine has a different kind of economy. It's more distributed, more laissez-faire,
Decentralized.
decentralized. Yeah, I mean,
Compartmentalized.
Compartmentalized, chaotic, but that's a strategy in itself. Sun Tzu said, the height of military deployment is to be without form. For if it is formless, then what did he say? The wise cannot perceive it, nor make plans against it.
Chaos is a difficult enemy to fight.
Exactly. Both from within and without, I would like to say.
Yeah, this is true. And I'd like to add one thing, because we get this often about OPSEC, about saying stuff. You can see a stealth bomber and say it does all this and this. That's what every country wants to do, is all those things it's capable of doing. The demons are in the details. How do you do that? So, yes, you can say we got this bomber. It can go this fast. You can't see it. Well, that's not OPSECing. That's just giving a description of a technology that we currently have. It's more, how did you do that is where the OPSEC is. So if you're telling people we use this material and, these propulsion, that's OPSECing.
So true. Yep. Well, thank you everyone for watching this far, and I hope it was interesting for you. Slava Ukraine.
Hear him, Slava, brother.